1, 2, 3, go. Hi, good
Hello,
afternoon.
hi.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to you as well. We are
Yep.
here again for our, how many session already, Alvin?
This is our fifth session.
Fifth session.
And the specific title that we're actually looking at is Hotel and Services Industry, Survival Post MCO.
Survival post MCO. That's a very tough subject today.
Very
And
tough.
yes, with us today we have two wonderful gentlemen who are willing to be part of this webinar today. Mr. Chong the Executive Director of Winfar Resources Sdn Bhd, and our Mr. Halim Merican, the Acting President of Malaysian Association of Hotels. Thank you, gentlemen, to be here once again. Morning to you, and I know it's quite tough for the industry at the moment, but we are so blessed for both of you to be able to come here, because we are afraid to see there's so many news out there and things not going. Is quite messy out there, but you're still here today. So I think Alvin, maybe we allow our panelists to introduce themselves.
Sure.
Right. So at least our audience out there know who's these two gentlemen. Maybe we start with Halim first.
Yep.
From
All right. Thank you, Amelia and Alvin. Firstly, I'd like to thank Q3 Management Solutions for hosting this webinar, where we'll be talking about the hotel and services industry survival post MCO. At the same time, I'd like to also thank all those frontliners out there doing their job, without questioning the risks that is at hand. I think we are very thankful for their job, the job that they're doing. Yeah. At the same time, I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank the Secretariat of the Malaysian Association of Hotels for doing their part in keeping all our members updated and coming up with programs for them to do during this MPO. Yeah. Well, again, you can call me Halim, and I've been in the industry for more than 33 years now. And currently I'm the acting president of Malaysian Association of Hotels. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Next on the list is Mr. Fu, as he would like to be known as. Why don't you just take the opportunity to introduce yourself?
Okay. Thanks, Alvin.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amelia, for inviting me to attend this webinar today to talk about the hotel and services industry, the survival post MCO. I'm running a few businesses. Boutique Hotel is one of it, and we also have a co-working space based in Kuching Lama. The hotel and the co-working space are in Kuching Lama, and we have a small property project ongoing at Sedang right now. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the frontliners out there, especially the officers from the hospitals who have been combating this virus head on, while the rest of us are duduk diam-diam di rumah. Yeah. So we also abiding for it for what, nearly two months, really going into the
near 60 days duduk diam-diam.
Yeah, 60 days. Yeah. So yeah, okay, let's start this discussion about the survival post MCO. Back to you, Alvin.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
So maybe we start from with our first question, Alvin, because of course it's 60 days. Almost 60 days. 2 months stay home.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure by now everyone already know the measurement of their house, right? Maybe before they are so busy. They are so busy. So maybe we can actually ask our panelists here.
Yeah.
What is your personal experience when the first MCO was announced on 18th of March? right? In 2020 when they first announced. Of course, we know this we call it COVID-19 has started earlier on, and we still I think basically Malaysian overall still doing our business like normal, our routine. You know, then we still go here and there until it was announced that this MCO, movement restriction order, on the 18th of March. So maybe Cik Halim would like to share your the first thing that you do when you actually hear this announcement. This is the first time in history.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Okay, being unprecedented means unplanned, right? So what goes through our mind in the beginning first is how are we going to survive? Number one, staying home. How do we operate our businesses? How do we work? I do some trainings as well. So even all those our forward plans have all been either postponed or cancelled. So how do we adjust to all that, right? So you start thinking a lot. Yeah, you start thinking a lot about it, and then I suppose after a week of MPO, then it starts to fall in place, because by then you're able to kind of like arrange and schedule your time. How much time do I spend work from home, and when you are at home, obviously my son's at home, the wife's at home, so there's also the family environment in between the work from home, right?
Yeah.
So there were a lot of plannings and thinking in that matter, and how do we deal with getting groceries, etc., etc. Coming to the context of the business itself, I think with WhatsApp and virtual or webinars or Skype calls and video calls, the association has gotten together very quickly and started coming up on plans and strategies of what needs to happen, what needs to be done. How do we get this information? How do we gather this information? So there were surveys being done through online to get feedback of what are the decisions that the other hotel members are going to be doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course, the government came up with the stimulus programs, and our decisions were very much based on what the government stimulus programs was as well, correct? And from then on, after we got the feedback, then that's when we started to look at how do we go and deal with the Ministry of Tourism, how do we deal with Ministry of Finance, right? Or even with the PM's office. You know what I mean? The next question that was going through our mind is, how long is this going to be, right? From the information we gathered from China, and then as it spread to Europe, which started to worry us even more, right? Flights started to be cancelled or airports closing. So again, in the tourism industry, we're very dependent on businesses from inbound and of course domestic, right? That came into plan. So moving forward, we started looking at how do we start preparing ourselves in terms of managing a hotel. Yeah, of course, the pressure from owners started coming through to everybody. Yeah, the cash flow managements were being drawn up very quickly to say that how long are we going to survive, and can we survive should this MCO prolong, right? So those were the scenarios that we were looking at. But I think the most pinnacle thing that we were starting to think about was the safety of our own family, right? If the way the thing was being spread, if the virus was spreading rapidly in such a manner, what do we do with our own safety of our family members? The priorities started changing. First we worried about the business, and then suddenly the safety of the family started taking over, right? Now I suppose at this point we are kind of like a balanced scenario. I think that would be my take on this one, this question. Yeah.
Okay.
Over to you, Fu.
Thank you. Okay, how about Fu?
Okay. I will share about my personal experience when I first heard about this MCO. It was a huge shock to all of us. as it has never happened before. Like the rest of you, I was not prepared to face this at the beginning. We have probably used the word unprecedented in unprecedented number of times. I've heard this word every day. Okay, you see it online, you hear it for a webinar. So right after the PM announcement on MCO, we were looking for directions, and it was not very clear. He mentioned about everything have to close, but he didn't say what have to close, what have to open, what can remain open. My company have an ongoing construction work for a property project in Sedang. We were not clear if construction work is allowed to proceed then. So at the time I talked to my contractors and they were not clear too. We even called CIDB for an answer, but they couldn't give us a clear answer as well. Then by 2 p.m. on the 17th of March, I soon realized that this is real, that everything have to close. Everything have to close. So I told my team members, let's start packing up your work documents, your computers, so that we will be able to continue working from home. And it's a challenge working from home because you have other distractions. I soon found out that for my team members, they have their own challenges working from home. They have their children to take care from. Some don't have internet connection at home. Some say that they left the documents in the office. So the next thing I would think, when will this end? When will this end? What is the next steps after this MCO period is over? And how will the consumer trends change? How will the consumer behaviors change? Because nowadays we see people are going more into digital, buying their food online. They learn how to cook online. They practically do everything online because that is the only thing they face every day. They face their phone or they face their computer. Yeah.
Okay, I also feel the same. But I think from the first, when they first announced MCO, almost everyone are not prepared. We know that there are the things there, but we are not prepared in terms of mentally, physically. We have our computer. We are used to work from home, but this is different. This is when you work from home, but you are not mobile anymore, right? If you actually left your document in the office, it's not the time for us to start our our car and actually go back to office and get it. Compared to before, maybe we came back during weekend to do our job and all that. Then we realized we left something. Then we just start our the engine, and then we go and take some and bring home. This is different. This is when everything you need to think, is it can I go? If I go, is there any roadblock? And so many things. That partly there's a business, but when it comes to family, that's I can agree with you, challenges, because before this you have family time. Now when you work from home, you have to say you have your children also need to actually attend their class and all that, right? So if the broadband might have we are fighting for the broadband at home. Yeah, we are fighting for broadband at home. But I guess after we already at our fourth phase now, right? I guess the chaos and the mess, we have actually gone through that for the past like 1 to 2 months. So what have changed along this after this almost 60 days of MCOs? I think personally or even no business, maybe for you, Halim? Oh, nothing changed.
First of all, I think we have become more digitalized or more digital competent. You do webinars, you do online meetings, but it's like maybe once every quarter with your head office or something. But now it's like every day. So we've become expert with even different types of virtual platforms that are available out there, right? And then of course that Zoom issue couldn't have come at the right time. Right? The hacking of the Zoom and all that. So anyway, what has happened now, or what's happening now after whereby we are in the fourth phase of MCO, and basically, I suppose we've gotten used to the situation already. So as we see the information coming from global situation of COVID-19, we now see that many countries are able to kind of like flatten the curve of the cases, right? I suppose now the key thing to do is to start looking at recovery actions, in terms of how are we going to pull through the hotel industry business, tourism business, moving forward from here on. We cannot wait till it's over and then say, okay, what do we do now, right? If the Ministry of Tourism is now calling for a meeting next week on a recovery plan from all the stakeholders of tourism, and then hopefully we are able to come up with one goal to improve the tourism industry again, moving forward, right? I suppose, there's a lot of getting used to from the hotel industry itself. I think, it's going to be very different. The hotel industry is a very service-oriented business. There's a lot of face-to-face interaction. Now, that is now changed. Although we can be face-to-face, but you're going to have to remember of social distancing. How do we set up our tables in the restaurants? How do we even consider looking for conferences and meetings business, right? How do we operate within the hotel itself? So to me, moving forward from now on is looking at realignment of the business. How are we going to look at the business module itself, segmentations of business that we're looking at? We got to replace. There's a lot of happening, RE, the word RE, you got to replace, you got to realign, replace the way our SOPs are being done at the moment. That has to change. And, we definitely have to reshape the business. And reshaping the business would mean that all stakeholders of tourism has to now come together even more to say, how do I bring back Malaysia as a destination? How can all stakeholders ensure that there's a safety feature in the way we do business now? Malaysian Association of Hotels have recently, in fact this week, we issued out the guideline on post-COVID. That is part one of it. The part two of it is coming out soon, which is a little more detailed on things we have to do to ensure that the perceived understanding of what the hotel business is now to a customer. The customer must be able to feel safe. The customer must know that this hotel is taking on every precautions to make sure that their guests are safe from this COVID-19, right? Until and when the vaccine is done. Let's face it, I believe the next influenza or next flu that we get will be having a bit of the COVID-19 virus in it, for sure. So I think that is what we have to do in terms of when you say, what are the changes that we have done or we'll have to do? It's really sitting down and looking at how we're going to start operating from now on. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. How about you, Fo? Because I know you have several business and all that, and boutique hotel is one of it. But what have changed after these 60 days? Because like Halim said, okay, sit back and start to think and all that and all this, right? But from your side, because there's several businesses are going on at the same time and all affected on during this time. So what have changed from your from your businesses?
So, as we all know, right, for this year, 2020, we only work for 2 months only this year. Because if you minus off the Chinese New Year holidays, you only work for 2 months. Then now it's MCO for 2 months.
Wow. It's a summer holiday.
Summer holiday, right? It's like a long break. It's a long break that ever happened before. In this last week of April, I start to find that our team, the admin, the operations, the accounts, team members, right? They have started to run out of work to do, because if there's no business at the front end, there's no work to do at the back end. But of course, we cannot just sit idle at home. We have to think of ways to add value to our current product offerings for the property project. Come up with new package for the hotel and the co-working space, so that when this whole thing is over, we can be ready to move forward. That's crucial. And I've started to also look at countries and cities, right, that have emerged from this COVID-19 virus. You can look at such as China and Hong Kong. What kind of policies do they have in place that they have in place right now after this lockdown has been lifted? So one of the key things that I see, that they don't allow any groupings of more than 4 persons. They don't allow that. So for restaurants, for F&B, you go into a restaurant, you cannot sit, you cannot sit more than 4 bikes on one table, and every table has to be alternate. So you go to a restaurant, you have 10 tables there, you can only sit on 5 tables, which is alternate. And I have mentioned earlier, the consumer behavior would have changed substantially after this. We have gotten to be more tech savvy. The way businesses operate will no longer be the same as before. Because these 2 months have taught us to learn how to be going digital, and also to everything to use from our phone and from our phone to solve our problems. So therefore, for the hotel and also for the co-working space, we have to continuously looking for ways how to improve, how to add value, to make it more attractive for the customers to come back. And I believe this comeback will come back. It's a matter of time.
Okay.
Interesting, because I guess both of you actually talking about the scenario of the the current issue, but you keep bring back one very important topic here: the customers. When we talk about business, putting business and all that, but if let's say there is no customer, right? You won't, because this is a service industry. I think before we on air, Halim did mention this is a service industry. It's all about people. It's all about customer, right? And the stakeholder and all that. And both of you mentioned the same thing. We have to look into what other country doing. We have to see how to convince our customers, how to bring them, how to actually to convince that it is safe for them to come back to our to our premises, to our property, to enjoy their meals, to enjoy their stays and so on. And this is a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge. Even though after this MCO, post MCO, it will be a challenge as well, because people start to actually people can try to consider on their health first. They have some skeptical. Is it safe for them to actually travel at this point of time and all that? But we know, because all these hotel provider has been bidding not because during MCO only, even started earlier. I think end of last year, somewhere in December. Yeah, it's already started earlier. Compared to I think other industry who actually of course suffer during this time, and they become more, I think, worse when MCO was implemented. But hotel has started since December, January last year. I mean, people talking about there is no occupancy and all that in the hotel, right? Since the beginning of the year. So some even cease their business recently. I think today to yesterday. So in your opinion, tell us what is the main challenge for this industry in general? Because for hotel industry, as I know, they are having this peak time. Not peak time. This is a normal thing for hotel, but this time is a different kind of history. Yeah, different kind of situation. So maybe Halim, like because you are more, you know industry better. You've been in the industry for 30 over years, and now you in Malaysia Hotel Association, right? Association of Hotel. You have you close to these hotels, and I'm pretty sure they'll be coming to you and say, okay, this is the problem.
Yeah.
What's the main challenges, Halim?
Well, as we are having this webinar, I'm still seeing messages coming in to say, how can we get financial support, So yeah, I think at the end of the day, like any business, without an income stream or consistent income stream, right, there's, cost is always there. Yeah. And, a hotel, right, is divided into different sections. Yeah, you've got the rooms, you've got the F&B, you've got the meetings, and each one of them has different cost elements to it. And definitely the fixed costs, which is in this context, the full-time staff that we have would be salaries. Yeah? Salaries would be the first issue that will come up, right? If there is a steady inflow of revenue, that's fine, because then you can balance between income and expenses, and make some profit from there. But when there is no income coming in, the cost is always there. Yeah, you can eliminate the variable cost for sure, but definitely the fixed cost is there. Yeah, salaries become an issue. Utilities would be the second highest costs that we can talk about in a hotel. Yeah, electricity, water. Although you can say that there's no business, so why do we need to run the electricity? Well, you still need to maintain the building. Yeah, the building is still there. You cannot just say, okay, off everything. You can't. Yeah. Because one thing that we have to realize is with closing of the building and shutting down your chillers, when you decide to start up again, the first thing you got to do is you got to check your chillers, whether there is an issue of another type of disease, which is called the Legionnaire's disease, right? Airflow of your air condition, So the other one is, how do I service my loans? There are financial loans that you have with banks, of which I'm sure many hotels are having that. So you got to service that. No doubt we have a 6 months moratorium, waiver from the government. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you still have to make sure that there's enough cash flow. Right? If I continue to have to pay salaries, then my cash flow is depleted. Yeah, without any inflow of income. Hence, a lot of hotels have taken the step of accepting the government stimulus program, which is the ERP and giving staff unpaid leave and all that. But some of them, you are limited to only 200 staff. So the bigger hotels where you have 400-500 rooms, 700 rooms, you're going to have more staff than that. What do I do with the balance of the staff? That still costs to me, right? Some might be lucky, they are on the ERP. Some may not be lucky, and they might end up having to be released from their duties. So at the end of the day, the biggest challenge should be maintaining your cash flow and making sure that you are also able to not take away the livelihood of people. And sometimes you got no choice. Yeah. Crisis like this, as I said earlier, we really don't know when the normal will begin. So assuming that the normal comes around maybe June or July, then you got to take another 8 months or so, if not longer, for the entire business to come back to what it used to be, right? And that's going to be then now. The next challenge is, how do I bring back the business? We can't do it alone. It's the Hotels Association. We can't. We're going to need support from the government. We're going to need support from the other stakeholders which are involved with the industry. So that's why we need now together and actually say, how do we improve and bring back, find a strategy to somehow be prepared to open our doors again. Yeah. Like how Fu said, there are some countries that have already kind of like recovered and started opening their doors. Yeah. The guideline that I spoke earlier was actually using some international brands support to get their